On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks are cursed. They just are. Where does it come from? And let's talk about the Mavs' loss to the Suns on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm going to get a city like that.
Dogs, all of us, all five.
You are Locked On Mavs.
Great, Leslie.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Still can't leave me alone.
Your team every day.
Gotta be born with it. Dog up.
And welcome. You're locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager, covering the Dallas Mavericks for 10 years. Thanks for being an everydayer, making Locked On Mavs your first listen. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. And joining me, as always, on the postgame prodigy from the great Slightly Biased YouTube channel. What you got for me, Slightly Biased?
The tank rolls on, Nicholas. The tank rolls on.
Today, I think the tank officially begun. So we'll talk about the Mavs against the Suns because after this game, their path is set, is laid before them now.
Yeah.
For sure. We'll talk about Naji Marshall. Incredible game from, I don't know if we can call him the tank commander yet, but it feels like he's taking the reins. Klay Thompson also had a great second half, but let's start here slightly. The Mavs are cursed. I think it's official now. In this game against the Suns, the Mavs had 9 healthy players to start the game. And then Brandon Williams goes out with hamstring tightness, soreness, after he had a 31-point game last game. So he goes out, and he doesn't come back in the game. Mavs announced that he was not going to return to the game. And then Dwight Powell and Kessler Edwards, as Austin Gurria put it, ran into each other and bonked heads like Looney Tunes, and both had to leave the game. Dwight Powell never came back after his head was gushing blood on the bench. I don't know if he would have played the rest of the game, but I would have hoped that they would have played somebody. And Kessler Edwards does end up coming back in the game after getting some stitches. The Mavs are now down. If Dwight Powell and Brandon Williams don't come back for this game tomorrow against the Spurs, they are down to 7 healthy guys and would have to forfeit the game if they don't get another healthy body somehow. I imagine they'll dress somebody that is not healthy in some way. I don't even know if that's allowed anymore because of the rules and all that kind of stuff with gambling and the injury. You have to notify about injuries and things like that. But Slightly, how cursed is this team right now? Because it just feels like it's more than just injuries, the trade, all that.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the craziest seasons I've seen from an injury perspective. And even if, it dates back to before the trade, too, because we were talking about it in the lead up to the Luka trade. We were like, man, this team's so hurt. Like, once they get healthy, we had talked about, I think it was 14 games, maybe even less than that the starting 5 even shared the court together in the same game.
And it was the best lineup in the NBA.
It was the best 5 in the NBA, that's right, by net rating. I don't know if that's true anymore, but at the time it was. But yeah, I don't know. Going into the season, there was something. Maybe it was firing Casey Smith. I really don't know. But there's been it's just been a weird season injury wise. It's not getting better. I do have to wonder. The Mavs were 10 games above 500 and like battling for home court. If there's a different sense of urgency with some of these injuries, but given the circumstances, yeah, I mean it is absolutely crazy. Even the two-way guys are getting hurt.
Kai Jones comes in and plays one game and he has a quad injury. Now he's been out the last couple. Maybe that's just I can't even say that that's just two-way like games management, right? Because they only have a certain amount of games. He only had like 11 games or something to play, and some people have speculated that he's being held out because they need to manage those games for the rest of the season. But now like he's got to play if that's the case. So that conspiracy is either going to be proven right or wrong after like tomorrow against the Spurs because they just need bodies at this point.
True.
You mentioned that if there had been a little bit more, if there had been some more urgency with some of these injuries, at what point in the season do you think they should have had more urgency in the season?
No, I was saying right now. I was saying like if they were 10 games above 500 right now.
Oh, if they were, okay.
Yeah. Do we see like? I mean, I don't even know realistically who could be back. Like maybe PJ's playing right now. Maybe they're just taping up his ankle. I don't know.
You're gonna find out tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think PJ's gonna play tomorrow.
No, but if they desperately need somebody, he may be active, and they just may not play him or something. I mean, they've got to do something.
I'm interested to see that. I'm interested to see that rule.
We've been talking about where the curse comes from. Maybe it's the trade, but the Mavs were injured a lot before the trade even happened. I mean, Luka was out when the Mavs traded him. And I can't help but think about something that Jake Kemp, the first host of this show, by the way, and host of the Dumb Zone right now, great show, was talking about. We don't talk about Mark Cuban's role in a lot of this stuff as much, and I think that it's true that we haven't really talked about it a lot. But he went on WFAA. We did the show afterwards talking about what he said about the trade, but the fact that he thought he was going to have team control over the basketball operations, and then that was never the case apparently. And somewhere in like the 6 months from when the team, somewhere 6 months from when Slightly's moving his camera around to right over the tank in the background of his image, somewhere between the 6 months of him selling the team like officially, and then the end of the season basically, it was said that he is not part of basketball operations. And I just wonder if he would have been in charge of basketball operations in any way, that this trade doesn't happen, and that maybe we're not in this situation in general. And Jake Kemp brought it up because he said this would be a catastrophic failure of like business and leadership if he thought that he was, and then for some reason he just wasn't, and it was just incorrect on the paperwork or something like that. It's something I don't think we've talked about enough that is now like a big what if in this whole scenario.
I don't think there's a what if. I think what happened was they said, yeah, Cuban, sell us the team. No, yeah, man, you can still do all the stuff you want to do. Like, yeah, of course. Like, we just want to be business people, which is all the Dumonts want to be. I promise you that. The Adelsons, the Dumonts, all they care about is the financial side of this. This is a business deal through and through for them, and they want to have a foot in the door whenever it's time for when gambling becomes legal and it's time to put a casino in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. That's all they care about. I guarantee you that.
They're putting that foot in the door. $100 million in lobbying to get that gambling.
Guarantee you that. I guarantee you since they bought the team, you could count on one hand the amount of times they met with Luka Doncic's people. You could count it on maybe one finger. I'll say that. I will say that. So that's all they care about, right? And Cuban, I think what happened was Cuban's like, yeah, I'll still run the team. They don't care about this they don't care about the basketball side of things. It could still be me. But then the moment that your say just doesn't really matter anymore, like in the grand scheme of things, you own a minority stake in the team. You don't really have power in any real significant way anymore over anything that happens with the team. Nobody realistically has to listen to your decision making. I mean, anybody with a brain could look at that when that happened and said, yeah, that's not going to be how it works. Like in a couple of years. It
didn't make sense at the time.
No, yeah. In a year or two, the Allisons will be doing whatever they want, or they'll hear, hey, this Nico guy's smart. You know, he's smart. He knows his stuff. Like we trust him. Okay. Then the keys to the franchise go to him, and whatever he says goes. And that's what's happened. So that I really can't believe. It's really hard for me to believe that Cuban, who's a billionaire, like he's a smart guy, right? Really thought that.
Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
I'll still be like on the basketball management side of things.
Well, yeah, and thought that it was written into the contract somehow, or written into somewhere, or maybe it was an unwritten thing, and maybe that's maybe that is it. That he thought that it was implied that it was going to happen, but I just wonder. It is a what if that if he had gotten that right, or if that was true, that none of this would happen. The Mavs would have Luka right now, and they'd be fighting to get out of the play-in right now. I mean, it would just be a completely different scenario for the Mavs. And I don't know. I keep coming back to that. I thought that was a great point by Jake, and we have not mentioned that on this show, but it's a huge what if now in the saga of all this that we're dealing with right now.
I'm telling you, I view the Cuban selling the team just looks so much different to me in the light. Honestly, it does. I have so many questions. I thought the way he answered some of the questions in that interview, to me, sounded like, hey, I'm not in charge anymore. Please don't stop yelling at me. I'm not calling the shots. But also, I thought it was interesting that, well, if you trade him, you get back more. If you trade him, you get back more. There was never like you never trade him. It was if you do,
you get a better deal. Yeah. We know that they were not going to. I don't think even before the deal of the selling the team that they weren't going to offer Luka the Supermax before that.
Yeah.
I
agree.
I believe that. I believe that the source that told me that, and that maybe he knew that this was all going to come to a head, and that at some point that Luka was going to get traded at some point, and maybe there was more tea leaves than we all thought that there was. I just assumed that you keep your 25-year-old superstar in event. I thought that the Mavericks would cave. and just give it to him, right? Because that's
Yeah.
what you do. You keep the superstar around. But I don't know. Here we are talking about the trade again.
Well, we're talking about the curse and how Cuban could be involved. I don't know. I mean, that interview to me, I just felt was very much like, guys, stop yelling at me. I didn't do it. That's all that felt.
And I don't even feel like that many people are yelling at Cuban for this.
No, I know. I think he thought, hey, as the former like face of the franchise in a lot of ways, right? Obviously it was Dirk, but Cuban was so outward facing, especially for an owner, that everyone just anytime anything happened to the Mavericks, you looked at Cuban. Like, what's Cuban gonna say? What's he gonna tweet? He
used to take media availability before every single game. Like, he would be on the Stairmaster. I was there as when I first started covering the Mavericks. He was on the Stairmaster, and I would ask him questions, and he like sweated on my phone a couple times trying to record his answers.
That's
like,
a power move right there.
It definitely was a power move for sure. But he took media availability before every game. That's how much of a part of it he was, and then slowly faded back, stopped doing that, and then he thought he was going to be part of the basketball operations even after selling, and that didn't end up being the case, and it's a huge what if. And the curse of the Mavs, I guess, continues on with the end of this season, which I don't even know what we're looking at the rest of the season because I don't know who's going to be healthy. But coming up, let's talk about Naji Marshall. Great game from him. Let's talk about how the Mavs lost this one, almost a perfect tank game to the Suns. We'll talk about that in a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by DoorDash. If you are like me, as soon as it gets cold outside, it got a little bit cold. The last couple of days it's been feeling like 40. It's been windy outside, rainy. I don't want to go anywhere. And I just want to take advantage of every DoorDash deal that I can get. Take the Dash Pass, get it, and see what you can get with it. Go check out Dash Pass. And right now, if an NBA player scores 50 or more in a game during the 2024-25 NBA regular season, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order, up to $10 off the next day from noon to midnight. Take advantage of that deal anytime somebody gets 50 in a game. I wish it was like combined. It was like 50 combined. Like the Jokic 30-20-20 game doesn't count for this, which I think is funny. But take advantage of any kind of deal you can get with DoorDash. You can use it for all kinds of different things. Sign up for Dash Pass. Be ready to save where any player scores 50 or more in a game. Dash Pass members get 50% off an order the next day, up to $10 off. Just use the promo code NBA50. That's the letters NBA, the numbers 50 for 50% off an order the next day. Must have active Dash Pass account. Terms apply. Visit DoorDash to learn more.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, what we call our listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you for checking out the show and listening every day. And shout out to everyone that has been listening to the show and not watching games and telling me. They're like, I can't watch the Mavericks anymore, but I'll still watch the show. Love you. Shout out to Naomi. It was a girl that came here and it was her first Mavericks game. She was very excited. Got to get a picture down by the court thanks to one of the Mavs scouts, and it was awesome, a very awesome moment. And so there's still some great moments that happen at Mavs games. They're still fun, and slightly even more so than the protest game where the fans protested outside the arena. This game was the one where I heard the most attempts at the Fire Nico chant to get going.
Really?
Almost every free throw where it was quiet in the arena, almost every timeout where Shippy forgot to hit a button. Just kidding. Shippy never would forget to hit a button. But when there was no music playing, somebody tried from different points in the arena too. There was one up in that section. There was one over there. This was the game where I heard the most attempts at it, and it comes on the heels of one of the most hilarious videos I've seen in this whole saga. Is that at Medieval Times last night, which is like, if you're not from Dallas or have one, Medieval Times is like this. How do you even explain it? It's like this dinner show thing where they joust and they have like knights and on horses and you go back in time basically. And
yeah,
a Fire Nico chant broke out at Medieval Times last night, which I just find hilarious.
I did not know the Medieval Times. I know the FC Dallas game, they got one going, but Medieval Times. Stars game going, but go check my Twitter at Nick Van X, and I quote tweeted it. I was dying because I was trying to figure out, and I saw All Things Mavs post this too. What's the weirdest place that a Fire Nico chant could break out in Dallas right now? Weirdest place in Dallas?
Yeah, because Medieval Times is up there where you're just
like Whataburger at 3 a.m. You could get one going in there, I guarantee
just
you.
All four people in there sitting.
Whataburger at 3 a.m. on a Friday night? No, there's about 40 people in there. None of them are sober. You might march on the stadium if you get all 40 of those people in it.
It feels like the Fire Nico is starting to gain steam as far as a chant.
Yeah, maybe they've also realized, hey, this is gonna happen. Like, it's probably worse for us to continuously kick people out in this sort of PR that generates versus just letting this chant kind of go and fizzle out on its own.
They can't kick you out of medieval times for that.
Yeah, true.
I'm just saying that it feels like the movement is gaining more steam lately.
Well, now it's almost become a meme, and that's what it's just
Correct.
like. That's when it becomes dangerous, because once it becomes a meme and we're just doing it for to be funny, versus hey, this is actually coming from a serious place of hatred. That's when it just becomes ingrained in the culture.
I can just hear everybody that does the Fire Nico chant. It does come from a place of hatred. I can
If you're doing
I can hear everybody say that.
If you're doing it at medieval times, that's a joke. That's like you're doing it as a meme, right?
I can't get over the medieval times.
Medieval times is a meme. You're doing that. If you're doing it at the game, yeah, you're being genuine and serious. That's
and he could hear you because he was here. He was sitting
true.
in that tunnel, the same place that he was last game.
He can hear you. If the owners are there, they hear you. Cuban hears you. Like that's different than medieval times. You're joking.
Do the owners hear you? Remember when Patrick Dumont came in the front row and was like, "Are they booing me?" I don't know.
Are they the most out of touch people in the world? I mean,
you mentioned it. It's they're here for business, and it's different. You just don't know and you heard Patrick Dumont's comments to the Dallas Morning News. He didn't mention Dirk as one of the players that they want their players to represent and emulate, right? Like that. I mean, that's just not understanding what your product is at all, and what your base is for your customer base even. So yeah, I thought that was really funny.
That is funny. That is kind of crazy that this was the biggest one.
And yes, and it wasn't. I guess it was the biggest one, but it was the most attempts that I heard. Where it felt like every free throw it happened, somebody was trying to get it going, and maybe it was just a couple people that were really excited. But the Mavs lose this game to the Suns. They played tough. Slightly, this Suns team is bad.
They're terrible, man. If the Mavs won this game, and I tweeted this out earlier, and unfortunately I was being dead serious. This was the most important game of the season for the Mavericks, bar none. Because if they win this game, and mind you, I'm on Team Tank fully, right? Like I am on Team Tank. Look
at his background.
Yeah, let's get to the bottom as best as we can here. If they win this game, they'd have been 4.5 up on the Suns, which becomes with 17 games left and with the Suns looking god awful, that becomes like almost. It feels like you're just going to luck into some wins here and there. It's like the Suns are going to go on a crazy 10-7. I say crazy 10-7.
They would have been 3.5 up, but still
3.5. No, they came into it 3.5 up. I thought.
No,
they're 2.5 up right now because they lost. So if it would have been a 2-game swing, so it would have been 4.5.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, I don't know, guys. I know they're going to lose a lot, but 4.5 in 17 games for a team that's not winning a lot is kind of a lot of ground to make up.
Yes, for a team that isn't winning in the Suns, it can't defend the Suns, and then they just look disinterested in any way. Yeah. It was so weird to see him and to see Booker in the first half. Like Booker had the worst miss of the game very early, and he took a 3, and you just go, what is that? I mean, he finished with 24 points, 6 assists, like an okay game, missed all of his threes. Something's going on with them, but
they're just
Kevin Durant 6 turnovers, and he just looked like he got that tech early because he was complaining early. I mean, the team just looks so disinterested, not energized at all. It looks like it's like, man, this team has all the pieces of a team that should at least be competent and good, but it's just not working. And the Mavs played tough. The Mavs defense, I thought, played decent until the Suns basically could kind of figured them out and started hitting some shots. Really.
Yeah, I mean, the Suns realized, half-court game, they can't stop us whatsoever. This is the mark. Whenever I see stats like this, they're like, old team that's not bought in at all. The Suns just in transition, man. The Mavs just killed them today. Killed them. When the Mavs got, rebounds, they pushed the pace. The Mavs played incredibly fast today. And that's the markings of a team that, hey, if these guys miss a shot, they're probably not getting back. These guys turn it over, they're probably not getting back. So we got a good opportunity to push the pace and run. And when the Mavs did that, it looked good. And that's why Naji Marshall had an incredible game, because that's what he does really well. And, once the Suns realized, all right, they don't have an answer for KD. Like, this is what we talked about after the last loss. Maybe one of the losses before that. I don't remember.
They're all running together now.
Yeah, they are all running together. It's like when the game kind of gets to that point late, and it's like the other team has a Kevin Durant, Who was it that we lost to a couple nights ago? I don't even remember. Honest to God, I don't even remember.
Was it the Bucks?
The Bucks.
Well,
the Bucks. It's like they got
the Kings. Was it the Kings?
No, it wasn't the Kings because I would not say that about them.
How many losses can we go?
Who did they just lose to? Oh, the Grizzlies. It was John Morant because John Morant had a bad.
John the Grizzlies.
John didn't have a great game, but closed it. And it was like once you get to once you put the game in the hands of those guys, the Mavs don't have that guy. You know, as great as Naji played tonight.
Because Brandon Williams went out with an injury. He should have been that guy.
Gee, true. He went out with an injury, so I mean,
oh my gosh, they just can't. The injuries just keep on coming. But yeah, the Mavs started early. They started doubling KD early on, like a hard double and very quickly early. You could tell that they were worried about that matchup because they just don't have the size. They didn't start Dwight Powell again, and so they have everybody is 6'6" basically on the team. Kessler Edwards is a little bigger than that, but then he went out and they only had 6'6" guys at that point. And so they started doubling, and the Suns eventually figured out that you could just pass and take advantage of the Mavs not being able to switch fast enough and do all that. And so the Mavs lose this one, but you mentioned Naji Marshall. We really got to get into him because he had an incredible game, almost a triple-double for him in 40 minutes. Just a great game from Naji Marshall. Let's talk about that and more coming up. Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of props and odds, things that you can use to get in on the action. My friend Sean Woodley of Locked On Raptors talks about the happiness hedge to always bet against your own team. So if your team wins, then you feel good. But if your team loses, then at least you win some money. So maybe check that out with FanDuel right now. You can do all kinds of other stuff too. They have the downtown jackpot. That's a new one. I haven't seen this before. 2+ made threes in a game. You have Trey Murphy minus 670, Jordan Hawkins minus 390. That was kind of interesting. 8 made threes? That is insane odds to get somebody to make 8 threes. So go check that out. See what else they have on FanDuel. It's not just NBA. They have college basketball as well. Take advantage of it. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on anything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories to who's cutting down the nets, all that kind of stuff. Check it out. It's easy and fast. FanDuel app is simple to use, and when I win, I get paid instantly, no waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com. Get in on the college hoops all tournament long. Again, that's FanDuel.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, Slightly, let's talk about Naji Marshall. Some great play from him. Like I said, triple-double, 34 points, 9 boards, 10 assists, hit 3 threes, which was awesome to see, too. His three-point shot coming back, and 34 points on 22 shots. Efficient from Naji. He was just, knifing through the lane. Pun intended for him and the knife. An incredible game for Naji Marshall.
Yeah, I mean, he either tied or set his career high the game against Memphis with 29 points, 17 rebounds in that game. And then tonight, 34, 9, and 10. So Naji is taking full advantage of this situation here to basically do whatever you want on the basketball court. Carte blanche. You have you could literally do whatever you want, and it does not matter at this point in time.
Like, my turn. Let's go. Yeah. He's been waiting for this.
Nobody will be mad at you for anything you do on the basketball court between now and the end of the season. It also hit 3 threes in this game. And, yeah, I mean, he was great. Like I said earlier, when the game speeds up at that pace, that's when Naji Marshall can really shine, grab the rebound, get down the court, get that floater, kick out, whatever the case may be. So it was good to see. He almost got that 10th rebound. I would have been so excited, but he would have been the 6th Mav ever for a 30-point triple-double. Only 5 Mavs have done it.
Who's the most recent one?
Luka.
Yeah, obviously.
Before Luka, it was a while.
I'm gonna go Luka.
Yes.
Is Dirk in there?
Dirk's in there. He's done it once.
Is Jason Kidd?
Kidd has done it twice.
Is Rolando Blackman?
Rolando Blackman has done it.
Oh my gosh, I'm doing so great.
Another good player. No, surprising ones.
Okay. Is Mark Aguirre?
No. Should I just say it?
Steve Nash?
No, close. Same era-ish.
Era-ish. Oh, Michael Finley?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was surprised because you never know stats like that. You look it up and it's like, what the Harrison Barnes did that once?
I was gonna say, would Naji Marshall be the worst player on that list, which is not even a slight to Naji Marshall, just like
definitely not a slight to him, but yes. 30-point triple double is kind of crazy though.
Oh, Theo Pinson's was 20-point triple-double, right?
Yes, Theo Pinson.
Okay.
Theo Pinson's 20.
That's a different one.
Yeah.
That would have been the one that stood out on all that. But
It would have. Every now and then, one of those stats is like, oh my god.
Naji just
Aaron
made a lot.
Halston did that?
he made a lot of things happen for the Mavs tonight, and he was a +5 in his minutes. So the Mavs were winning in those minutes. It's not like he was just going out there to get his own stats. And honestly, I thought he outplayed Booker and Kevin Durant tonight. And Durant got double teamed a bunch, and so maybe you give him some credit there. But Naji was better than both of them in my book.
Yeah, Naji looked like the best player on the court, which for me and the tanking goals from here on out, man, this team's just going to fall backwards into a few wins. They play too hard. It would have to take a collective quit, which I don't think is coming. You never know, I guess. But the way that they play right now, I don't see that happening. And then, Naji's playing well. You're going to get like a Klay goes 8 of 17 from 3 game at some point.
Speaking of Klay, we got your Klay should take 15 threes in every game experiment in this one, right? He took 14, made 5, and he was not shooting well in the first half. What was he in the first half? He was
bad.
It was a really rough one. It was like 2 of 10 or something like that, and finished the game with 26 points. And yeah, I thought played really well in the second half. Great moments from him.
Yeah, let it rip, Klay. I mean, there's no reason to not shoot 15 threes. Again, like I said with Naji, no one's going to be mad at you for anything that you do from here.
Well, Klay did get that shot clock violation.
That was hilarious.
In the first half, it's the first time I wrote down in my notes, Klay shot clock violation, ... tank, all caps. It's just like,
Clay's been around the block. He knows. He's like, man, if I...
Well, he's done this. He's been around this before when the Warriors had to do it when all those guys were out, right? He's seen
including him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, that's that was, man. If I make a 3 right here, it feels like the momentum of the game would be trending too much in our direction. So let me just take a shot clock violation here. Let me just take it.
That's what it was. He just couldn't let them.
It was like I can just sense it. If I hit this 3, we're gonna be firing on all cylinders.
It's not that the Mavs are so undermanned. It's that they're so confident and arrogant that they're like, we know it's better, so we just shouldn't win this game.
Next up on that list, Max Christie. Please shoot the ball more than 5 times, brother. Please.
All threes too. He had a couple moments in this game. I found one specifically where he drove in the lane, had a shot, and then decided to dish it to Kessler Edwards, who had to take a floater. And you just go, man, like I would like to know what Jason Kidd thinks Max Christie is and like what he's directing him to do, what type of player he wants him to be, because we saw early in his career with the Mavs, he can get his own shot. Why is he not trying to get his own shot? Maybe he's just lost confidence, maybe the transition in the trade, maybe some of the adrenaline has worn off from it and the novelty maybe, and he's finding it a little more difficult. Maybe he's bored because he without Kyrie coming to the arena super early and him having to try and beat him to the arena, maybe he's just sitting by himself for hours before the game. Maybe. Who knows what's going on with him, but I'm with you on Max Christie.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's a confidence thing for him, which, if I'm on the coaching staff, I'm telling him from here on out, like, hey, man, we want bare minimum 12 shots a game.
Yeah.
12, 13, 14, 15 shots a game. Like, that's it. And if you miss them, you miss them. If you drive and you go up and you get blocked, you get blocked. But we want to see you get these reps, and that's really important for the future of you and the future of our team. But we just want to see what you could potentially be. So, that's I can't when you're in this position, 4 or 5 from the field, all threes. I can't live with that. All assisted as well.
Right. Yeah. No, he was hitting a bunch of spot ups.
Yeah.
Caleb Martin, I thought, had another good impact on this game. They were -10 in the minutes that he played, but I thought he played some great defense. He had a couple moments where you're just like, oh my gosh, I think he would have been an incredible defensive player for this team if they were fully healthy. That block at the rim where it was a foul because he hit, I think it was Grayson Allen or somebody in the head. But man, that play, you just go, oh my gosh, he has some ability right there.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this on the last one where you see the vision if the team were healthy, and you have this very versatile defender who can do a bunch of different things in Caleb Martin. And we also have seen glimpses in these 2 games of his on-ball sort of creation and stuff like that for others is pretty good for a role player, right? It's not like give the ball to Caleb Martin and he's going to go out and get 10, 11, 12 assists, but it is the connective passing and the playmaking and stuff is there for him. I think was tonight the first time he attempted a three as a member of the Mavs. Did he even attempt a three?
And he sure did. He attempted some threes, and they looked all three of them looked different.
Yeah, if you haven't caught much Caleb Martin, he has a very, very, very strange looking jump shot.
But he always has kind of kicked both his feet out when he jumps, and then he kicks both of his feet out in front of him a little bit, so he kind of lands forward, which is not super abnormal, but the way he does it does make it look abnormal. The first three he took, which I think you're right, it was the first three he's attempted. That first three he took, he kicked him out. He kicked it so quick. Like he tried to jump and realized he wasn't going to get high enough, and then had to put his feet down really, really quick underneath him. And that one looked really bad. Then the second three he took, he didn't move his feet at all. He didn't kick him at all like that. He just looked like a normal looking, Kevin Durant shot where his feet barely move, or a Luka, the Luka three where his feet are just still on the ground.
Yeah.
And then the last one it felt a little bit more natural to what he does. But yeah, I just thought he was all over the place with that, and that's something I'm monitoring because he needs that if he's going to be on the team next year.
Yeah, I mean that'll be, if he's on the team next year, the team is competitive. That's something we'll be talking about, is his 3-point shot and whether or not it can translate to the playoffs. We've seen it. Like that's what is good about Caleb Martin, is we have seen it in the playoffs with him. We know that. The question is when he's, a year older, coming off of an injury-riddled season like this year, can we still tap into where he was a couple of years ago in the playoffs? That remains to be seen. But yeah, I mean, his playoff averages are crazy. Like they really are.
He's a riser in the playoffs.
He is.
They could use somebody like that. And I think he's shown a little bit more defensively than Quentin Grimes did for the Mavs so far. Like that's one thing where I think I may seed that and say he would have been better defensively. But
yeah, I think Grimes' like point of attack is better, but Caleb Martin I think is a little bit more versatile. So
he had a closeout in this game. It just flew from one end of the floor to another.
He plays hard, man. That is something about Caleb Martin. And I just can't. Even in that series against the Celtics last year, the Heat lost in 5, 12 points per game, 44% from 3. He's that green, man.
And he had that crazy and one in the second quarter.
Oh, that was nuts.
Naji got the steal, and Caleb Martin finished that acrobatic and one and made it a 6-point game at that point.
Yeah, that was crazy. Crazy finish.
Crazy finish. Not a crazy finish for the Mavs, but it's what they want. It's what we want.
Taking loss.
I was gonna say it's what we want them to do at this point in the season and what they are. So we'll be here. We'll still cover the game, even if the Mavs have to forfeit it. We'll do a post game as if the Mavs had done it. We'll just make up everything.
Has that ever happened? I wonder.
I have to imagine it has, but I can't imagine that it does happen to the Mavericks tomorrow. Like if I had to guess.
I mean, if it's happened, it has not been in recent history.
Yeah, not that I can remember, but. All right, go check out Slightly Biased, great YouTube channel. Good stuff all the time. Check the newsletter and the links in the description and the QR code for different ways to follow the show. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked on Mavs. We'll be back tomorrow with the post-game show or the fake post-game show. Depends on what's happening. Peace out. Boom.
They can get up to 8. 8th best odds. They can get there.